A beautiful, perfectly designed landing page. The one you might have spent days, even weeks, refining. It's completely useless if it's slow. Or worse, it just doesn't exist if it crashes the second someone clicks your link.
Yeah.
That whole layout fails if the technical foundation is weak. But what if that foundation, I'm talking the server, the security, all that constant maintenance, what if it could be handled automatically for $0? That's the promise in the sources you sent over. We are deep diving into the final critical piece of the DDD system design, data, and today, deploy. We're talking about the technical setup that turns your local design file into a professional, trustworthy, live business asset.
And it sounds intimidating, right? All those words. Hosting, servers, continuous deployment. It feels like there's this huge jargon wall built around it.
Exactly.
But the good news is the source material really lays out how to use these powerful enterprise-grade tools and completely for free. It just simplifies what used to be a very complex and costly process. It's so much simpler now.
So what's our mission for today?
Our mission is to really uncover that specific technical path, the tools, the steps, and especially the automation that lets you launch your site fast and make sure it builds immediate credibility with every single visitor.
Okay.
Our roadmap is pretty clear. First, we'll look at how to secure your code. Then we'll tackle that instant free deployment. After that, we'll cover getting a professional domain name connected, and finally, using a little bit of AI to make sure Google understands exactly what your page is selling. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's start with the why. The business reason for all this technical focus, because it's not just about putting files online, is it? It's about establishing trust and profit from the very first minute.
That's it.
You had a great metaphor in the notes.
Yeah.
The technical setup is the foundation of the business.
Yeah.
If that foundation is weak, the whole house just falls down. And in this case, that house is your revenue.
Exactly. And a robust foundation, even a free one like the system we're discussing, it has two crucial immediate impacts on your profit.
Okay, what are they?
First one is speed. We live in a world where, let's be honest, patience is basically non-existent. People are busy. If your page takes more than, say, 3 seconds to load, that tab is already being closed.
Right.
That slow speed is an instant loss. And Google even penalizes you for it in search rankings.
And the second factor?
The second is trust. And this is instantaneous. A professional custom domain, that simpleyourname.com-20, it immediately signals that you're legitimate. If you're using some long, messy, temporary URL, it just looks amateur or even like a scam.
So credibility is either won or lost in that first second.
It is. It's lost forever, or it's established instantly.
And what about stability? That seems really important, especially if you're trying to scale a new business.
Oh, absolutely. When you finally get that ad campaign to work, you get featured somewhere big, you get a traffic spike, you need professional stability, otherwise your site just crashes.
And you lose all those customers.
You lose them all. The tools we're talking about prevent that. A weak server at that moment means you literally paid money to disappoint people who wanted to buy from you.
So a slow site or a messy link, it isn't just a minor issue. It's an instant credibility and sales killer.
That's the bottom line.
Okay, so since we're dealing with code, the first step has to be safety and organization. We need to protect what we've built.
Right, and not just for backup, but for what's called versioning.
This is where we bring in GitHub.
This is GitHub. You can think of it as a specialized Google Drive, but built specifically for code. But it does something profoundly different.
Okay, so if it's basically just a secure file backup, why not just use Google Drive or Dropbox? What does GitHub do that's so different for code?
That is the crucial distinction. Google Drive backs up your files. GitHub provides something called version control.
Version control.
Yeah, it doesn't just store the file. It stores the entire history of every tiny change you ever made to that file. I like to think of it like an architect's blueprint archive. Every single revision is saved and tracked. So if you make a big change today that completely breaks the site, you can just revert back to yesterday's working version with a single click.
An instant total undo button for the entire website. That's huge peace of mind.
It is. And the setup is really straightforward. You create a free account, you make a repository, which is just a fancy name for a project folder, and you upload your main files, your index.html, your styles, and so on.
And the source material mentioned a key organizational tip here.
Yes. Separate your images into their own dedicated images folder. It seems like a minor thing, but it's really critical for what comes later.
Why does that matter so much? Is it just about being tidy?
It's actually about communication. clean code is understandable code, and not just for other developers, but for the AI tools we're going to use.
Ah, okay.
A clean structure helps the AI focus only on the code it needs to change instead of having to, wade through all your image files. And I'll admit, I still wrestle with prompt organization myself sometimes, keeping all the data clean for the AI. I learned the hard way after losing files in a really messy folder on an early project. I just couldn't remember which file was the latest version.
So starting with that clean structure prevents a massive headache down the line.
A massive one.
So using a vault like GitHub is better than a local drive because it gives you that instant undo button and it keeps your file structured for AI to understand.
You got it.
Okay, so we've secured our files and their entire history in GitHub. Now we need to go from secure storage to live hosting, that computer that's on 24/7, broadcasting the page to the world.
Right. And for this, the sources point us directly to Vercel. It is by far the ideal free hosting platform for beginners because of how it integrates with what we just did.
How simple is the setup?
It's almost ridiculously simple. You sign up, you click Add New Project, and you just connect it to that GitHub repository you made. It deploys the site instantly. We're talking less than 2 minutes usually.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, right? The magic of auto updates. This is the feature that can really change how fast a business can iterate.
Absolutely. This is Vercel's standout feature, especially for new business owners. Once it's connected, Vercel just watches your GitHub account. Anytime you change even one line of code, say you fix a typo or change a color, Vercel sees it and automatically pushes that change live. Instantly.
Wow.
You never have to log into some complicated file manager and manually upload things again. It just happens.
You update the code once in GitHub, and the live site refreshes instantly without any manual file uploads.
It eliminates hours of that repetitive, boring maintenance.
That speed is a huge advantage. But let's be real for a second. This setup is free. If I start running serious ads and I start getting significant traffic, when does Vercel stop being free? Is there some hidden wall I'm going to hit?
That's the essential question to ask about any tool that says free.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the good news is that Vercel's free tier is incredibly generous. It gives you more than enough bandwidth and stability for almost any new launch or small business.
So when do you start paying?
You only start paying when you exceed some pretty high usage limits. Things like massive monthly bandwidth or huge volumes of serverless functions. For a simple landing page, you can scale way up before you even need to think about cost.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and if you connect this to the bigger picture, I was looking at the comparison chart in the source materials, the setup time difference is just incredible. It's 2 minutes for this free plan versus 30 to 60 minutes for traditional paid hosting.
That much of a difference.
It's huge. And I was thinking, whoa, just imagine scaling your entire business to millions of monthly visitors, all starting from a 2-minute free setup.
Yeah.
That efficiency is just transformative.
So we've saved the code, we've launched the site for free, it updates automatically, but we still have that temporary Vercel link, that project-name.vercel.app URL. That's not going to work for building professional trust.
Correct. That long temporary URL just erodes all the credibility we've worked to build. You have to connect a custom domain.
And this is a tactical decision, too.
It is. The source material advises buying a name that's short, easy to remember, and this is key, avoiding numbers or hyphens. Keep it clean and professional. You can buy one right through Vercel or use a provider like Namecheap.
Now, this connection process, this is usually where beginners start to get anxious. DNS records, server settings, it all sounds like black magic.
It used to be. It really did. But Vercel makes it so simple. Think of DNS as just updating the address on your digital business card. Vercel basically says, here's your new specific server address. You just go into your domain provider's settings, find the DNS section, and you copy and paste what Vercel gives you. That's it.
And once that's done...
Once you've pointed your new name to the Vercel server, your site looks like $1 million business.
Okay, professional appearance, check. Now for the final piece of that puzzle, visibility. We need to shift to SEO, making sure people can actually find this beautifully built site.
Right, making Google happy. And this is where we can leverage AI for some of the heavy technical lifting.
Specifically with meta tags.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Meta tags are so important because they tell Google what your page is about in a very structured way. We can use tools like Gemini or Claude to write them for us, making sure they're optimized from the start.
And there are some pretty tight constraints here, right? You have to be concise.
Extremely. The meta title has to be under 60 characters, and the meta description is under 160. This is the little snippet of text that shows up in the Google search results, so it has to be click-worthy.
So how would you prompt an AI for that?
The source material is a great example. You tell the AI, write me a click-worthy meta title and description under X character limits that includes the phrase results-driven and free consultation. It handles the technical rules and the marketing angle all at once.
Perfect. And what about all those images we put in that separate folder? How do we make sure Google understands what they are?
That's where our text comes in. Google can't see a picture. It can only read the text you give it. Alt text is essential for describing what's in the image. It boosts your ranking, especially in image searches.
So instead of just picture,
Right, a lazy alt text is just picture. A good one tells Google, for example, image. Team in a marketing meeting in a modern office using our new software. It gives the full context.
so AI helps generate two key pieces of information: the meta tags for the search results and the alt text describing the images.
Precisely. It automates two critical SEO steps that used to require a specialist.
A live site is never really finished, is it? It's a machine you have to keep tuning, and you can't improve what you don't measure.
Exactly. And luckily, Vercel has analytics built right in, just one click. The Analytics tab shows you things like unique visitors. And this is where the real work begins.
How so?
It gives you this critical insight. If you see, say, 1,000 visitors a week, but you have 0 sales or signups.
Then you know your traffic is good, but the message is wrong.
Exactly. People are finding you, but your sales copy isn't convincing them. You need to tweak the words, not the ads.
If the content is the problem, where do you start testing first?
Start with the highest impact element. The headline is always number one. If it's not working, use an AI to generate 5 alternatives. Swap them out weekly. Then maybe test the call to action button, the color, the text. This is why that instant update feature is so powerful. It enables high-speed experimentation.
And what about the site's speed?
Vercel also gives you speed insights, a score from 1 to 100. A low score usually points to one simple culprit: oversized images.
So the most common technical reason for a low speed score is just that the images are too big and need to be compressed before you upload them.
Almost always. The fix is to use a free tool, something like TinyPNG, to optimize your photos before they ever get uploaded to GitHub. That step alone can take a score from a 60 to a 95.
Okay, let's hit a few quick troubleshooting questions. What if the site looks great on my laptop, but it's broken on my phone?
That's a responsiveness issue. When you ask the AI to generate the code, you have to be specific. You have to tell it, make this mobile-friendly and responsive.
Yeah.
That one phrase ensures that it adapts to every screen size.
And what about that little green lock you see in the browser bar? The SSL certificate. Do we have to pay extra for that security?
Nope. That security certificate comes free from Vercel, and it's vital. Browsers like Chrome will slap a huge not secure warning on your site without it, which, scares away basically every customer.
So what does this all mean? We've covered a ton of ground today. We safely saved our files and their history on GitHub. We launched the site instantly for free on Vercel. We connected a professional domain with simple settings, used AI to optimize it for Google, and then set up tracking to measure how it's actually performing.
Mm-hmm.
The big message here is that the technical side of setting up a business online, it can feel huge, right? Overwhelming. But when you break it down into these small automated steps using professional grade tools, it becomes incredibly achievable. You end up with a real high-trust selling machine that's running on a $0 budget.
And to build on that idea of speed and iteration, since this whole system is free and updates automatically every time you change a single line of code, just think about how much faster you can experiment with your sales strategy. Compare that to the old, slow, costly hosting models.
That's a different world.
It is. This specific technical foundation, it allows for a continuous high-speed experimentation. And that speed, that ability to iterate, is the ultimate competitive advantage online.
So your homework is to start that process. Go create your free GitHub account today, upload your first file, just take that first technical step. Thank you for sharing your sources with us for this deep dive.